Actually 51 and a half.
1.5. Okay. Well, hey, I'm with Ramona Rogers. Hey, Ramona.
Hello, how are you today?
Good. I'm so excited that you're with me on the show today, the What the 50 podcast show, whatever I'm going to call it. Ramona is my special guest today. Are you all set up there yet? Yes, there you go. Ramona is my special guest, and I'm gonna have her tell you a little bit about herself, but she is the author of newly released Blueprint for Success. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. And I'm so excited to have you on today because I just want to pick your brain and learn from you and have everyone else learn from you as well. So welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Cindy, for having me. I am just so happy to be here.
Yes. And I'm happy to have you because you are also one of my target podcastees in that you are a woman of a certain age, 50 and over, and look at you looking so good.
51 and fabulous. Yes, indeed.
51. All right. You're owning that. So I love to interview women who are of a certain age, but also doing really, really successful and crazy things in their lives and their businesses. So tell us about your book. Tell us about your life. Tell us what you're doing.
So let me see. Let's start from the beginning. I come from a large family, have 7 siblings. I have a twin brother. Growing up, I never thought that I would be the person that do the things that I'm doing now because I had self-limiting beliefs early on. And that lasted for a long time because of the names that I was called for many years. That stayed with me for many years.
What kind of like bullied, like you were bullied in school or?
Yeah, it was one of those things like being the youngest, I was the quiet one. I have my older sister, I was like her shadow. So it's like I could hide behind her, but it was one of those things like kids being kids.
Yeah.
And it gave permission for other kids to kind of, in a sense, bully me, but it was only in words like, oh, the word was dumb. I was called dumb. And so when
I read that in your book, like well, who told you? Because you're a twin, you're probably not going to be as smart as a normal person.
Oh God, for years, I never understood why I hated the color baby blue. And it wasn't until about 3 or 4 years ago that I remembered this incident. I was 4, and I remember sitting on the floor in the doctor's office playing with toys. And I remember the doctor coming in, and he told my mom, because she had twins, one of us will have above average intellect and the other one wouldn't. But of course, my mom said, which one? And I just remember them looking down at me. But the walls in that room were baby blue.
Baby blue.
Uh-huh. And so it was like I was counted out before I got up to bat in life. And so
yeah, that
crazy. Was like a stigma that stayed with me and it was like words said here and there. It's not like my mom never treated me like, oh, she's fragile. I was like I was the domestic goddess in the house. I patterned myself after my mom. She just stayed home and raised us. So everything I did was like, I saw her, this woman, you never knew she had 8 kids in her house because we were disciplined, we were structured, and we couldn't step out of line. Very disciplined family. And I just patterned myself after her. So, because after some years, I'm thinking, oh, this is what I'll do in life. Because I didn't think I could be smart because I was told that I wasn't smart.
It's so amazing to me how the things we hear early on, the stories, they stick with us and they become a part of our identity. And so it's so sad. It just like breaks my heart to think of you as a 4-year-old hearing that message. You internalized it and you took it with you.
Yes, I lived that life and it didn't help. And my brother was very smart. My brother's a lawyer. My twin is a lawyer now. So you can imagine what that was like. And so I was always in the shadows, not only of him, but everybody else. To this day, some people look at me and say, okay, you're one of them, right? They really don't remember me because I never said anything. I was just always in the background and been looking through pictures and stuff like that. I was always in the background. I was the smallest, but still I was in the background, and my siblings can talk. They can talk way more than I ever. So, but yeah. I was never had to because I just stayed where I'm supposed to be.
Right. Never had to. Do me one favor. Do you have a mic?
I have a headphone.
I'm getting feedback. Is it because you have a mic hooked up, or is it you're just talking normal, right?
I'm just talking normal.
Do I sound weird to you? Do I sound tinny at all, like in a can?
Just the tad, not overwhelming.
We'll just see how it turns out. I just wanted to know if maybe there's something we could do different. I'm not sure. Okay, cool. So, and growing up, how did you get out of that mindset? Like, how did you get to the point now where this is your second book that you've released, right?
Actually, it's my third one, but
Your
we'll talk
third.
about
I'm sorry. And you're a coach. Like, how did you get to the point where you came out of that mindset?
it. Took years. My dad, if nothing else, he had a family to provide for. So he, as I say, he worked while he worked while he worked. He
Yeah.
could be doing 2, 3 jobs at one time, but he had 6 girls, and his thing was you never depend on anybody to do anything for you. Okay. That was his big thing with us, is don't depend on anybody. So he said his thing was there's 24 hours in a day, go work. So if nothing else, I had the work ethic to go and do just everything I needed to do, just work, work, work. And then mostly the thing was it was all manual labor. It was never, I never went after anything that required what I thought was a thought process. It's like, okay, I could work hard, but I can organize. I learned organizational stuff from my mom. So
Yeah.
I had those skills. I had those types of skills, but it just, I shied away from anything that I thought required thought process. And so I did work. My work ethic was outrageous. So any place that I did go walk into, they love my work ethic, and they would always, hey, come do this. I never mind doing the extra. And that's why I kind of started elevating just on a day-to-day or whatever job I did. I always did above and beyond because mom didn't take the slack on anything else. But it wasn't until after I was married with kids at 30 years old that it became, okay, wait a minute. I had 2 daughters, and I had went through postpartum depression. And when I came out of that, I looked at them and I'm like, I don't want them to feel like I felt for so many years. And that was like the turning point for me to find out who I was and make sure I was a good role model for them, because you mimic what you see. I
Yeah.
mimic what I saw. And so I wanted them to mimic what they saw, because I know that was powerful, and putting them in atmospheres and making sure they elevate to be who they're supposed to be. Learning me, I started seeing and noticing the deficiencies of other people and how other people, I resonated with where they were. And so it became about coaching them to think differently about themselves. So that was the biggest thing about coaching. I was around so many people that had the exact same persona, or, oh, I can't, or no, I can't. It was always I can't, because they had never been told that they were better than what they are. No
Yeah.
one ever championed them either. They just kind of, your environment is kind of part of what you become. And my mom always says, each generation should get stronger and wise and go further. She says that all the time. She got married when she was 16 years old and had
Wow.
6 kids at 20. So that was what she did with her life. That's what she wanted. She did what she wanted. But she always says each generation should go further. She didn't know how to push you to that. She gave you what she had, but it's up to us as individuals to get that training and get in front of people to say, okay, there's another way to do this.
Yeah.
And unless you do that, you stay generation after generation will get the same results, not going as far as you really can.
So you saw through your postpartum depression and your 2 little girls, you're like, I got to do better for them. So you actually changed the narrative for your kids. You rewrote your narrative so they didn't have to carry those same stories around themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was about them, and people be like, well, you can't afford to do this, you can't afford to do that. It didn't matter. I was cleaning gyms for them. They're level 5 tumblers. One of them is a scholarship, on a cheer scholarship, because of how she excelled in her tumbling. The other one is still on a competitive cheer team now, a level 6. So their world and what they could do with their lives became my fuel.
And you've opened up so many possibilities for them.
Oh, they've done more than I in their short years, and I have in my 50 years. They've been exposed to so much, and they've had so many experiences that I could have never fathomed for myself. And that's what I wanted for them, because when you do have the experiences, the exposure, you have possibilities, you have more options.
Totally. Yes. And I can't believe that you have written 3 books already. And so this one was just your third. I was thinking it was your second, but it's your third. That's so impressive. And you're the one actually, when we were in a mastermind together and we had our one-on-one time, when I learned that you had written books, I'm like, God, I can write a book then. Okay, I'm going to write a book. You totally inspired me. I'm like, okay,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Ramona can do it. I can do it. So let's go. So thank you for that. You planted the seeds of that thought into me. So I appreciate that.
Wonderful. I didn't know that, Cindy. I appreciate
Yeah,
that. That
no,
inspires me to keep going.
yeah. And your new book, it's visually beautiful. Like the cover is just so stunning. I love it. And that question, is your ebook the same as the actual? Okay, so it's
Yes,
the same thing.
it's the same exact thing.
Okay. Well, good. And in your book, Blueprint for Success, you lay it out with 3 pillars, right? And so you make it really, really user friendly. So it's very tangible. The reader can take actionable advice and just go for it and kind of change the trajectory just by reading. And I love the way you're a systems girl.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much.
You lay it all out there.
I have learned, one of the things that I've learned in all this research and crafting, and there's no secret to success. There's only systems to success. And when you don't have systems in place, you can't really get there. There's this, and if you got to the chapter about the great debate about goals versus systems, you gotta have both. You gotta know where you're headed to.
Yeah, I'm not finished it yet. So I'm writing this down. There's no secret to success, only systems to success. Okay. Yeah.
So I heard that and I was like, that's right. And so everything I've been doing, I create systems. So the first, and the ironic thing is the first book. So the very first book was a financial literacy book for kids that I wrote when I had early childhood education. I had a daycare I was in childcare for 15 years. That's for that one. But then when I transitioned to personal development and coaching, I started coaching just to do my parents and my staff, but then it became about that personal development aspect that was crucial to so many people as well as myself. And so that's where I started doing the coaching. And the first one was, I kept hearing this thing, you have greatness inside of you. I heard that when I was in my own search, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what is that? How do you get there?
You have what?
I kept hearing there's greatness inside of you.
Oh, greatness. Okay. Gotcha.
You know how people say that? You're like, after a while, you're like, okay, what is it about? How do you achieve it? And I'm searching and reading, taking courses, and there's no step-by-step process to know that you've actually reached that level. And so one day, and I'll tell you, I can remember that like it was yesterday. I was working at my last job, 16 hours a day I had worked. It was on June 21st, 2017. I said I was not gonna deny myself to keep moving forward in my own business. So I need to do something. I got up and started doodling on my old logo for my daycare. I said, that's mine. I'll just make it to my personal development stuff. And it was like a lightning bolt literally hit my head. I said, it was like, damn, it's like the greatness process. Because I wrote on my paper, Unlock Greatness. And it was like, it just hit me. So it became I'm just jumping around the house. My kids was like, this chick has really lost her man this time.
Well, you had that aha moment. It's like an epiphany. It
was like, I finally get it.
Yeah.
So the greatness process, which is in the book, is goal setting, resilience, effort, attitude, be teachable, navigate your seasons, execute your plan, and raise your standards. So those are 8 things. But then the last S is success. So I call it the Great 8 formula. So when you do that over and over again, that's how you reach your level of greatness where you are at that time. Then you do it again. So you take Serena Williams. What did she do all her life? She's a champion. She's in so many arenas now. She set goals. She was resilient. She made an effort. Attitude had to be good. She had to learn from her coaches. She had to navigate the various seasons, and she had to execute her plan and raise her standards. So she did 8 things. So when you start looking at the greatness process, it's hidden in plain sight. Everybody that's ever been successful, they've implemented that. And when I start researching, I say, it's right here. No one has wrote it down. So it became, I started doing workshops, and then I started adding to the workshops. So what else do we need in place? And I started, learning about your dreams, your vision, the things that you need to have in place before you can get to that point. Those, I call them invisible elements that are inside of you that are foundational to the individual, but we're not talking about that either. What are your hopes? What are your dreams? What are your attributes?
Yeah.
That's essential.
Because you can try to implement, but until you have this straight, until you're telling yourself the right story.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you call those the invisible elements. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So moving forward with this book, you just launched this book.
Yes. Yes.
I want everyone to, where can they get it? On Amazon or?
They can get it on Amazon. They can also get it off my website, RamonaRogers.com. That's where I do the autographed books, and I send them to them. I like to have a little message in there. They can get them there, but just did the ebook. Ebook is available on the website as well. Also, I have actually a funnel that's been created. All the stuff is in the funnel. Actually, I just completed the audio version of this as well.
Oh, really?
Finalizing that this weekend. So different people like it different ways. And so
and you're doing the speaking yourself?
Yes, I did.
I love it. Wow.
Myself. Just trying to making sure that the information gets out there. My whole thing is about the premise of the haves and the have-nots and keeping that achievement gap. We don't know how to make the changes. And this feels like my life's work right now, because it's a tool that people can use to change their trajectory of life and their children's lives, maybe their family's life.
Right. Do you feel like you're making a difference?
I do. Everybody that embraces the information, hearing it and embracing is two different things. You can hear it like, okay, that's good. But when you embrace it, like, how can I get there? And start thinking differently about the possibilities of life, it changes everything for you. It changes everything for you. And I want other people to get it. I want to see differently in other people's life. We were meant to be more than what we are. And to me, society, you're accelerated at a mediocrity level, which is not acceleration. And if your ceiling is here and you're like, I'm there, but then there's a whole nother world out there that you're not even tapping into, you're not becoming your best. You leave a lot on the table.
And oftentimes we don't have vision. We think the ceiling is here. Like, we truly don't know there's anything beyond it.
No. And our environments and unfortunately, our school systems, our environments, or
right.
the people are around us, if they're not on that same quest to elevate, then you get the same thing. Everybody is championing everybody mediocrity.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. You become like the top 5 people you hang around.
You hang around. In my first book, my dad, he passed like 20 years ago, but he had all these ideas. I always talked about stuff, and I reference him as greatness in the ground. You go out to a graveyard, you have all these ideas and things that people never executed on because they never moved past that idea.
Yeah,
we have a lot of ideas. How many businesses and inventions and everything people had?
Yep.
That people had, and it's like you have to move outside of the comfort zone. It's a comfort zone. As Dick Tracy says, the comfort zone is the enemy of confidence and courage. So we are so comfortable with just existing and not actually living, and it's scary. It's not easy. It's scary, but at the same time, I don't want to take it with me. I want to leave it all here. I want to leave it all here. And this year has been nothing but about transformation for me, growing for me, putting me in a position to execute and make sure I'm empowering other people to become their best selves.
Yeah, it's amazing. What's next for you? Another book, program? What's next for Ramona?
What's next for Ramona? I have some courses that I've created, group courses, craft and all that stuff. I got most of it done, but I really want to go into school systems. I think if the students have this information early on, they can actually map out their lives and with a more full-fledged thought process of why you do what you do and what to be put in place, as opposed to you get all this education, even college students, you get this education and it's like, then what?
Yeah. Why are we not teaching this stuff to our kids in schools?
Well, a lot of people can't teach what they don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, this hasn't been around for me. I hadn't seen it. And so the excitement for me is like, wow, this is something different. I don't come from, I come from a regular class family, but even when I move into different other spaces, there's no concrete way to say, hey, here's how you map this out. This is the map. Create your map.
Right.
You get from point A to point B. We say set goals, but are we setting authentic goals? Are we showing them how to set authentic goals? My grandmama can tell me, you're good at math. I want you to do accounting. But if I hate accounting and math, why would I go down that rabbit hole? And then 10 years later, my life is in dismay because I hate what I'm doing because my
Right.
grandmother told me that. So if we're not doing authentic goal setting and systems, putting them in place in order to get that authentic who we are and what we really bring to the table, then you just lose it. You give up. A lot of people give up.
Absolutely. So you see yourself going into the schools. You've been to the schools. You've been to several, right? So you
I've
already
been
have that connection. Yeah.
I've written a curriculum. I want to say next month I'll be in one of my local high schools to actually do hands-on with them to implement this program. I've actually written the curriculum to whereas I can send it or deliver it to schools all over the country. I want to make a difference that way. I can't be 10 places. I can't be 100 places at once. So
Yeah.
building that curriculum in order to give the students something else, give this next generation something else other than, everybody's not going to go to college. Then what do you do? There's still ways to do this, to build and to grow. You just have to be given the tools in order to do so.
Yeah. Well, dang. I admire you so much, Ramona.
Well, thank you. Likewise, we just make a good team.
We do. I can't wait to see what else you do. I can't wait to get your book into everybody's hands. And so anyone who's listening, go to ramonarogers.com to grab your copy and to learn more about Ramona and what she's offering. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts is just be open to the possibilities of life. We limit ourselves when we don't understand that there's more out there, and don't be afraid to get into other circles. We a lot of times don't want to go back to zero, but when you get to zero, there's one on the next level. You keep going, and each level you up the ante, but you're growing and you're learning, and that is going to allow you to become your best version of yourself. And without that, we're just wasting time in this space right now. So go be great. You are greatness in the making.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming on with me, and I can't wait to be on with you.
Of course, most definitely. That's in the works too.
That is in the works. Hold on.
Yeah, Life by Design is the name of the podcast.
Oh, that is your podcast, Life by Design. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Ramona.
Thank you.